Just to see if I understand this correctly. So, as the intelligence of man evolved, it became apparent that there's ways we should live in order for our species to survive, or for you can call it society, if you would call it that, that early on, that there was behavior that was in the societal um, best interest if we behave this way. And it would help us move on as a species and evolve as a species, as an intelligent species. And we would learn to live in more congruence with each other by following these, if you can call them moral things. But it was something that would have been developed through the intelligent evolution of a human, something that they became aware of, that this would be a better way of living because, for the reasons that you outlined. Is that it?
Yes and no. For a start, I'm going to have to go into the idea of a species, because that's another concept that we've found great difficulty defining. The meaning of the word species has been changed several times in my lifetime. And the problem that we have is it assumes that there are fixed types of creatures that form breeding populations that are separate from other fixed type of creatures that don't breed with the first lot, and that's not the case. The case is that because the time is going, it's the, what did I call it, the moving,
the conveyor belt.
Thank you. The moving conveyor belt of time doesn't stop. It looks as though it stopped to us because we have short lives. So we can go to the zoo and we can see these animals and think that that's the reality. It isn't. There are no static instants. All we can do is take a snapshot in our head and imagine that things are like that, but they're not. What's been happening is, imagine that you're on a station, okay, and a huge 2-mile long goods train goes through this station. It doesn't stop. That's what's been happening. And as it goes past, we can look at the carriages or the trucks, and we can say, there's a red one, and we can label that one red. And it's like labeling this rather large animal elephant. But now it's gone. It's moved on. You can run alongside it for a while you're alive, but there is no stoppage. So what's been happening is that evolution has progressed, and without any intention. It's not aimed at getting man. It's merely the mechanism is that variation occurs, and you've only got to look at your own children to see that they're not mirror images of you. That's variation that occurs, and then the environment changes. So it's like putting your children through a sieve. Okay, some of them might go through and survive to breed again. Some of them might not. The environment is a sieve for a population, right? So what's actually been happening is a continuous, ever-changing succession of individual creatures that have merged one to the next, and sometimes they become so different from their remote ancestors that they don't breed with them anymore. Notice I said don't breed with them, not can't breed with them, because it's not necessary to be unable to breed to form a different population. You might just not meet each other because maybe your habits have changed. Maybe this one feeds at night, that one feeds at day, or perhaps an earthquake opened up and separated you geographically. So this is what's been going on. And during that process, we got loaded with Do you know computer language? I'm going to call it a BIOS.
I'm not sure what that is.
Well, it's the instruction set on the chip. Tells it how to deal with all the other components on the chip, right? So we have got loaded with our human subconscious BIOS, and that says, don't kill. For the very reasons that I explained. You know, it's counterproductive to societies that are based on cooperation, right? Now, on top of that BIOS, which is the general propensity not to kill, to be nurturing towards each other, because of course we are born incapable. We need, as babies or fledgling birds, to be looked after by parents. Parenting had a big impact on this. That's been going on. So we have got this nature imbued into us to look after our offspring, to look after our elderly. We are evolved to do that. And so on top of that, we have got our conscious mind. So in a situation, we've got this automatic response coming up. Maybe there's a man with a gun, and maybe there's a vulnerable child or something. We can modify our conscious behavior. Says don't hurt the man with a gun because he's a fellow man, but we can override that by thinking I'm going to save that child, and we can attack the man with a gun because that has now become the priority. It's the new moral, if you like.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, I see we're creeping up on an hour here, and this has been very enjoyable. Thank you very much, and it's been very helpful to help me understand your worldview and understand evolution better than I did before. So thank you for putting your thoughts so succinctly and clearly. I really appreciate it.